Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you might be. Welcome back to the Same Old Arsenal podcast. And just as I have remembered, I'm always doing things wrong. We are now live, but I haven't tweeted it out to let you know that we are live. So how am I going to expect any viewers? So just before we do it...
Come on, Craig, what is this, amateur hour?
No. Well, I think I've got a bit of sunstroke, James. Well, there you go. There's the tweet. Hello, good morning, good afternoon. Wherever you are, you might retweet that, boys, while I'm talking.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Hello to you if you're just listening to us on audio. Thank you very much for supporting us. And hello to everyone who's watching us on YouTube. Thanks for joining us. Sorry about last week, had to cancel. I'm not going to go into the description of why I had to cancel. Some of you know why I had to cancel. Some of you understand why I had to cancel. Some of you don't. But to those people, carry on, whatever. Carry on hating. Carry on what you want to say. Tonight, we are joined by none other than Mr. James Cook. How are you, sir?
I'm brilliant, Craig, and thanks for having me on the show. It's been too long, far too long.
Yes, it has. It has been a long while since we've talked. I understand you're doing very well, sir, making videos. I think that my last favourite one was the documentary about, was it?
Yeah, I think that's when I last spoke to you as well, back in March. It's been way too long, too long, Craig.
No, we mustn't let that happen again. Judge, how many strawberries did you eat during the week?
16. And, you know, it was very nice. Strawberries and cream, recommend it, you know. So,
got anything else you want to tell us?
Well, not really, no. Like, I'll tell you things in confidence and then you go and try and spill the beans.
Yeah.
You know, I
won't say any more about it.
I was on my best behaviour at Wimbledon. It's for the posh people, like, you know. So,
I don't know how he does it. Corporate Emirates, corporate Wimbledon, corporate Lords.
It's all you know, Craig. Like, you know, stick with me, and you know you might get a corporate at Cork. You never know, like, you know.
Yeah, I reckon. I reckon. Let's crack on. We've been touring Australia. Well, I say touring Australia. We've been to one city. We've played 2 games, one against Sydney FC and one against Western Sydney, Eastern, Western, Southern Sydney Wanderers, whatever you want to call them. Some quite good performances. Lacazette with his first goal. A very tidy finish there in the first game. James, what was your overall feelings of the games in Australia?
To be honest, Craig, just after not seeing Arsenal the past few months, it was really nice to just get that feeling back. Performances aside, as good as they were, just nice to see the team play. And it was great to see all these young players come through. We were speaking before we came on about Christian Bielik, a player that wasn't really mentioned so much in that first game, but he had an absolutely outstanding performance in both of our opinions. And Nelson as well, quality player that's come through. But then Eddie Nketiah as well looks a really fantastic talent. All these players coming through, but then again, players like Coquelin, who I think who's been brilliant over these 2 games as well. El Nene seems to be playing really well as well. So, you know, it is pre-season. I'm not going to get in over my head because we do tend to, in recent years, have a good pre-season. So I'm not going to get too overwhelmed. But it's good to get that momentum up, get the squad looking fit. Mesut Ozil's looking absolutely fantastic. Lacazette's looking really good. Giroud, there's lots of speculation about him, but seems to be banging in the goals and putting in some really hard-working performances. So it's all looking bright. Hopefully we can carry this into the Community Shield, get a win there and start the league season strongly and prepared.
Absolutely. Lee, that was a fantastic finish by Giroud yesterday, wasn't it? I just want to come to that for our first goal yesterday morning. A lot of people want him to go. A lot of people want him to stay. I don't know where I am on it. Especially now Lacazette is here. Lee, Olivier Giroud, would you be tempted to keep him, or do you think we should move him on?
I'm in the camp of got to keep him. I think that we need a plan B. There's going to be games when I think that he's going to be needed as well. I think that if you're going to win the league with him just being as the main man, it's not going to happen because he's not going to be what I would say 25 to 30 goal striker. He's in the 15 to 20 goals ratio of a striker. And with Giroud, I always think in the season he does have a little bit of a dip in form. You know, he plays really well and has a little dip. You know, he's a big lad. I think at the end of the day, he's vastly underrated for what he does. I think he's got a fantastic touch when he's backs to goal. He makes that look simple. I can tell you that now. Anybody who's played up front, it's one of the hardest. Apart from scoring goals, it's probably the next hardest job. He does it really well. And I think that he brings in players, and I think that at times we're going to need him. So listen, if a big offer comes in, you know, it's going to be hard to turn down. But I would look at it and go, "What we bought him for 12 million. We've got that money back in tenfold." So I would be tending to keep him. The big question is, and it's the question of everybody: that does he want to stay? Does he want to be, or does he want to move on? Now that's the question. If he turns around and says to the manager, "Look, you know, I've got a chance to go to, I don't know, Marseille and be the main man there," then I think that he's given us great service and we should allow that to happen. But if he wants to stay, I think, you know, I'm in the camp of let's keep him. I think he'll do a wonderful job. I think that from an attacking point of view now, I think if we keep Sanchez, which we'll go on to a little bit later on, I think that we're well stocked in that forward area now with Welbeck, who I think will have a better season this season with a pre-season under him. We've got Walcott, we've got obviously Lacazette coming in now. So we're definitely looking pretty strong in the forward areas now. So for me, if we're going to have any, you know, it's not just about the league, Craig. You know, if we're going to go into, you know, with this Europa League as well, we're going to have, you know, two teams. And, you know, we don't want to be like burning out Lacazette and so Sanchez for those long flights and everything like that. So, you know, Giroud and Walcott, I think will come into play as the season progresses as well.
Well, funny you should say that, actually, because I was going to bring that up later. But as you've touched on it now, James, watching those young lads yesterday and last week, do you think the way forward is to have two teams, like Lee suggests? I think it's going to. I think it makes absolute, complete sense. Although I would like to win the Europa League. A lot of Premier League clubs and their fans, you know, well, we've done it. We've done it for so long, you know, winding up, the shithouses up the road, that they're in the Europa League and we're in the Champions League. But now we find ourselves in the Europa League. It's a competition I want to win. Yeah, I've had a go at Spurs fans and I've had a go at Liverpool fans. You're in the Europa League. But if we're in it, which we are, there's no getting away. It's a competition I want to win. But is Arsene Wenger's focus after spending his money on Lacazette, on bringing in Kolasinac? Rumour has it Thomas Lemar is on the verge of joining. Rumour has it. You know, that's some scary strike force. Ozil, Sanchez, Lemar, Lacazette. Is Arsene Wenger going to focus purely on the Premier League? Or do you think he should go for both?
I think with the squad we've got, we're more than capable of competing in both competitions. I don't think Arsene Wenger is going to treat the Europa League in the way that he does with regards to something like the League Cup, where he just fields kids. We've got a team now where we can play the likes of El Neni, Coquelin, Wilshere, even times when we don't play Mesut Ozil on a weekend, perhaps, and bring him in for a Europa League game. We've got those options. So it all relies on who goes out this summer, and I do think they will be going out. So the likes of Lucas Perez looks destined to leave the club, which is, in my view, very sad. I really wanted him to see do well at Arsenal. In his short time at the club, did actually do quite well. So shame to see him go. But Kieran Gibbs is going to be leaving as well. Jenkinson, Debussy, they're going to be leaving. We're a little bit threadbare on that right-hand side, maybe. So I'd be looking to bring in, after Lemar, if we do actually get him, it's all going to hinge on the future of Alexis Sanchez, of course, which we'll talk about later, but as well Olivier Giroud. If we lose Giroud and Sanchez and we've brought in Lemar and Lacazette, for me, that's a downgrade. You know, we won't have as efficient options. Giroud, whatever you think of him, is going to be a fantastic option if he does stay at the club. And it's a shame that it's a World Cup year coming up, because if it wasn't for that World Cup year, then there's no doubt in my mind that he'd be more than happy to contribute from the bench as he did last season. But again, he is a player that can be starting week in, week out for a team such as Everton or Marseille, as you mentioned. He's a top quality striker, we're coming up to 31 years of age now, and wants to get in that France squad. So it's a difficult one with regards to him, but with the players we've got and with the systems we can implement, I sincerely hope we stick with this back three next season. But we can also play a back four, which will benefit the likes of Walcott, etc., out and out wingers. So, I'm excited by this team. I just hope that, as has failed us so many seasons in the past, we start well, because that's what this season is going to hinge on massively, in my opinion. We've got to be prepared and we've got to start well against Leicester. I don't want this saga with Giroud, Alexis, whatever other players are in the last year of their contracts to run on until that game, because then there's just uncertainty in the mind of the players. Mindset won't be right. So for me, in answer to your question, Craig, it's imperative that we've got all of these different options. Maybe not necessarily two different starting 11s, but players that can interchange with each other, players that can integrate into different systems. And I think we've got our Arsenal now. Maybe one or two more signings, but for me, it's all going to depend on the outgoings of this club, and we've just got to see how that unfolds.
Lee, what's your opinion on that, mate? The more I sit here and think about it, the more I would prefer Arsene Wenger to concentrate on the league. But it still doesn't take away my, what I said about the Europa League. It's a competition I want to win. But some of the players that James names out there, we could have two squads with some big names in them.
Yeah, I think that also you've got to look at it is that a lot of the players are going to get a lot more games. When you play Champions League and league games, it's normally the same sort of set of squad that would be playing in that. But I think that the likes of Giroud can get probably, something like 10 games if you count League Cup games as well. Before, by September, October, November, that ain't too bad. So I think that how I see it is, if you're playing at home on a Thursday night, we can play a few of the bigger players, if you like, so-called names. But when I'm talking about when we're travelling to Russia, those sort of places there's no point in the Sanchez's, if he's still here, Ozils, all those guys travelling there, then coming back Saturday morning and then travelling off to Everton, because let's get this right about this the champion, the Europa League. We're playing Chelsea after Europa League. We're playing Everton away, Southampton away. There are games. So if we're playing in Russia, obviously we don't know if they're going to be home and away at this moment in time. But this, if you're going over to Russia and then you've got Chelsea on the Sunday, we don't need that. The Europa League, yes, great to win it and all that. The two things that we've got to do this season is challenge for the title and get back into the Champions League. That's it for me, And obviously, I want to see us challenging for the title. Can we do that on two fronts? Well, who knows? But I'd rather also, that we'll develop our players as well. Look at everybody goes on about the badness of Europa League, but if it weren't for the Europa League, Harry Kane would never be where he is now, because he was playing in the Europa League and he was scoring goals in that. And in the end, Pochettino couldn't leave him out. So he was getting experience in good competition. So I want to see that from one of our players, like seeing the likes of this Nelson coming through and playing in that week in, week out.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I think this will actually be a great chance for Jack Wilshere in the Europa League.
Jack Wilshere, it's coming back. This fantastic call. Jack Wilshere needs to play games. Play him in those games. Listen, if we can't get into the top two in those group stages with those sort of players, as you say, Coquelin, Wilshere, and Elneny, say as a midfield three, that's good enough. Obviously, Iwobi will get games in that position there as well, and these sort of guys. And if Wilshere can play these games, it's a fantastic point James is saying there. Get the momentum like Harry Kane did at Tottenham. Why not by January he could be a different player for us and coming into the league team with a good bit of games under his belt, and I think it's very, very important that it could be, use it to try and win it, to try and get into the next stage. Because don't forget, once we get to the next stage, all the Champions League teams drop in. So it's just about qualifying, which I think we should be able to do, and giving these young kids an opportunity to play as well. And as James says, the injured guys coming back and performing as well.
And I've got to say, just while we're on the subject of young players, if anyone's in Australia watching this, or if we've got anyone in Australia that listens to it, you've done Arsenal Football Club massively proud. 80,000 people turning out for 2 friendlies against obviously Sydney and Western Sydney Wanderers. 80,000 fans per game. I saw all the photographs and all the videos of people at the airport getting pictures, getting signatures. I honestly didn't realise Arsenal had so many supporters in Australia. So if you're from Australia and you've been at the game, brilliant. You were absolutely brilliant. You should be really proud of yourselves. You really did give Arsenal a great name. Like I say, 80,000 people for a friendly. I mean, the shithouses up the road couldn't even fill Wembley for a Europa League game. So I mean, says it all really. But back onto the young fellas. What an experience, James, for these young fellas to be on the aeroplane with the likes of Mesut Ozil and Lacazette and these players, and then they're running out in front of 80,000 people. What an experience!
Yeah, definitely, Craig. I mean, you look at the likes of the name that's already on our lips so much of the time at the moment is Nelson, and rightly so. It was absolutely fantastic. But Joe Willock as well, and Keita, as I previously mentioned, these lads are just about 17 years old, and to be on a team playing with, as you say, the likes of Ozil, Lacazette, Olivier Giroud, fantastic experience for them. And I just hope that next season we blood a few more of these players in, because I think it's something we didn't do correctly last season. There were so many opportunities when we could have played guys that, especially when things tailed off towards the end, we could have put people in like Rob Holding, who should have played a lot more last season, in my opinion, right from the start. But this season, we've got an opportunity to do it with the Europa League, as you rightly say. Nelson, definitely someone I want to see more of. If we have shipped out Chris Willock because this guy is so good, then let's see that come to fruition. But then Bielik as well, I think he can work brilliantly in a back 3. But also, let's not forget Callum Chambers, still only 22. He's got a part to play in this team. Lots of young players coming through. A few young English players as well, which is really exciting to see. Ainsley Maitland-Niles looked quality in those games.
He's probably one I've missed out, actually. He looks really good. Obviously, coming from where I come from, Ipswich Town was one of my local clubs. I used to go and watch Ipswich a lot. My buddy was keeping me informed about him, and he reckons he's shit up, and he's going to be shit up. He spent a year at Ipswich, didn't he? So when he comes back into the Arsenal side, I think he looks really good. Very, very promising. Very promising.
I'd say the only thing that worries me ever so slightly about Maitland-Niles, and given that he's only about 19 years old, it's not a huge problem, but his versatility could maybe be a slight hindrance to him. He seems to be playing left wing back, right wing back, centre defensive midfield, right back. I mean, I don't want us to do what we did with Oxlade-Chamberlain and just play him absolutely everywhere, because that's not going to benefit his development. We've got to find somewhere where he's good. For me, last season, he looked very solid in that central midfield role in that game against Southampton away in the FA Cup. I thought he looked quality in that game. So let's find a place to bed him into the team. Very good player to have, considering he can play multiple positions. And, for Joe Willock, Bielik, we've got so many good young players coming through. I just hope that we see a lot more of them next season.
Very refreshing to see so many young players coming through and pushing for places. Carling Cup, Europa League, so be it. All good for squad places, Lee, I've forgotten what I was going to ask you. Give me a minute, it'll come back to me. I can't remember. How many sugars you take in your tea?
Don't drink tea.
Don't you? Okay.
Coffee man.
Okay.
Half a sugar in coffee.
I'm just trying to deflect. Is that dartboard electric behind you?
Say again?
Is that dartboard electric behind you?
No, it's a snooker table.
I've remembered. Lacazette.
Oh, I thought he was going to ask me the ice break. Go on.
Just come back to me. Lacazette, our new record signing.
Yeah.
Number 9, Lacazette, comes on. 15 minutes, scores a goal. Lovely. Delighted to see him score a goal early. Yes, it's only a friendly. Yes, it was a meaningless game, but good for the player, I think, Lee. And just what I wanted to touch on was, I've never seen all the Arsenal players celebrate like that before. for a friendly, a goal. The whole team, delighted for him that he's come on the pitch and he's banged one in for us within 15 minutes.
Yeah, what I like about Lacazette, I don't know, at this moment in time, I think that he's got like a good little bit of skills as well. A good little invention with his play. What I like about it also, and I think that this is something that we'll do a lot next season, is we're going to hit teams on the counter attack, and I think that he's got that little bit of pace that we need. As I say, it's early days at the moment, but it's a good signing. I have to say that, but I'm not getting carried away about the signing yet until I know what happens with Sanchez. So I'm really like, if it'd be a fantastic signing if we keep Sanchez, but if it's going to be a replacement for Sanchez, I'm going to be furious, because it's a definite downgrade at this moment in time. But as an addition to the squad, if that's the way it's going to be, I think it's fantastic. I loved his little finish that he scored there. That's something that I think that there are times in games when we're on top and those sort of balls go across. How many times you see it and it goes out for a throw on the other side. So I think that's going to help our play. And I did like the way, his movement and everything about him. Don't forget, he's only a week into training, week and a half into training. So what I like about the Lacazette thing is that he's got 4 or 5 weeks in the Arsenal pre-season, getting used to it. He's not going to come there normally like the end of the transfer window and try and get going. Unfortunately, someone like Perez had to do last season. I think I feel so
stuffy.
So but say he's got the 5 or 6 weeks now before getting to know all the players, getting to know what all about Arsenal and all that. I think that's great. I would like to see let's get our other signings sorted out as well, and then I can get excited about the season. I know, like James was saying, I was looking forward to the season, all that. I'm just still in the back of my mind, because it's Arsenal, I'm just worried we're going to get hit with a sucker punch, and something's going to happen. But I think what I've seen of Lacazette, I think it's something that we've needed for a few seasons. And let's be honest, he has excited everybody, hasn't he? He's a signing that's excited our fan base, and which is what you want. If everything goes to plan and Chamberlain and Sanchez sign, and say Lamar does sign as well, going into that first game against Leicester on a Friday night, we're all going to be buzzing going to the game, because that's what we haven't had for a long, long time. So, just fingers crossed that everything, that they do the right things this time, Arsenal. They're setting out the right noises. I like what Wenger said, 100% Chamberlain's staying. He's sort of been positive that Sanchez is staying. And if that's the case, then I think this Lacazette signing is going to be a fantastic one. I really do.
Just before I get James's opinion on Lacazette, thanks for everyone that's joined us live. Thank you very much. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed, you can. The button's down there or down there. I'll just cover it with both hands just in case. And if you haven't followed us on Twitter yet, please do at Same Old AFC. James, Lacazette, are you excited as much as me about Lacazette? The fox in the box that we have been absolutely crying out for the last, God knows how many years. I am totally besotted with this bloke. I think he's going to score 25, 30 goals next year. I'll put myself on the line. He could be like our next Ian Wright. How Ian Wright just pop up, and poof, it's in the back of the net before anyone else could do anything about it. And Ian Wright liked to score the odd spectacular goal, the odd header, the odd this. I'm so looking forward to seeing him playing in the Premiership. Do you share my enthusiasm about him, James?
Yeah, of course I do. I'd be silly not to. £50 million signing looks an absolute class bit of business as well, given the cost of transfers nowadays and the fact that we've snipped him up so quickly. I mean, you look at Atletico Madrid that were looking to get him in. That fell through, thankfully for us, and we've managed to get it done before anyone else has been sniffing around him. So really pleased in that sense. But that first game as well, I mean, just the way he came on, strutted his stuff, and the way he just took that almost slow motion run into the box, finished that pass from Iwobi beautifully, and it just gets us all the more excited. And as Lee rightly says, if we can keep hold of Mesut or Alexis Sanchez going to that game against Leicester on Friday, I mean, I'm going to be absolutely buzzing for that because, again, to quote Lee, it's that excitement we haven't felt for so long. And Lacazette is the striker that we've needed he's a signing we've needed for the past 5 years. With all due respect to Olivier Giroud, he's the world-class striker to come in, Lacazette, and replace what we had in Robin van Persie. You would hope that, I don't want to throw around terms like world-class too soon, but I do honestly hope that given his record in Liga, he can echo that in the Premier League. And, it might take time. It might take him a couple of months. It took Perez a good long time to settle into the club. It could be the same for Lacazette, still only just turned 26 years old. So his best years are definitely ahead of him. And I'm really excited by this signing. But again, as I've mentioned so many times, it's all a case of can we keep Alexis? Can we keep Mesut Ozil? Because that front three of Alexis, Ozil and Lacazette, and then with options such as Olivier Giroud, Theo Walcott in behind. I mean, it's incredibly exciting, and I sincerely hope that we keep him. And in terms of relation to Ian Wright, I mean, it's a bit before my time to talk about Ian Wright, but he looks like a poacher. He looks like a goal scorer, and I'm incredibly excited by the prospect of him signing for the Arsenal.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm not comparing him to Ian Wright. That's a massive comparison. I'm just saying I think he could be our next Ian Wright type player. To compare him to Ian Wright, bloody hell, I'd be putting me bollock on the chopping board there. But I just think he just reminds me of him.
There's a lot to like about him. Even in that game against Western Sydney Wanderers, he didn't get on the score sheet. He had a fairly quiet game, but his link up for the goal that we scored, the little ball into Monreal, the way he holds up the ball as well. For a short guy, as a striker, holds up the ball really well, incredibly strong.
That's what I was more impressed with.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows it's all the more imperative that we keep Giroud as well, because these two options, you could see them working really well together in a front too. I mean, you got to look at that game against Western Sydney Wanderers. Giroud kind of does have to take note of Lacazette because they could very well be working up front together next season. And I'd say that's maybe one slight worry is that if we are to keep Giroud, he doesn't seem to be too keen on passing to Lacazette. But I'd be interested to get your thoughts on that one, Craig.
Passing the ball to Lacazette, I don't get that. People are saying, "Oh, did you see Giroud? We didn't celebrate with Lacazette. Oh, Giroud won't pass the ball to Lacazette." I don't see that. Lacazette was giving the ball to Giroud. Now, if there was any bit of a problem there, surely Lacazette wouldn't be giving him the ball. I mean, they're professional footballers. There can't be any room. There can't be any of that on the pitch. And if there is, then Giroud's got to go. If Giroud is the problem here, if Giroud is going, or is he jealous of him or what? I don't know. If that's happening, Giroud's got to go, no question. See you later. Go away.
I just want to come into that. I didn't see that. I see Giroud passing to Lacazette in the game. I see.
Yeah, a lot of people. I think a lot of people are looking too much into it because of the France thing.
I also think, Craig, that from Giroud's point, he scored the goal. I don't think he's even dismissed Lacazette. I think he's just pleased that he scored, and it's a bit like he's like focused in doing well and scoring goals. I really do. I don't
believe that. He definitely didn't purposely ignore him.
No, I don't think so.
I just think that he's caught up in the moment. He's out there to prove himself. By the way, which is not a bad thing to do in pre-season training, that he's being pushed, and that's what you want. He's not like and I think I don't see nothing wrong in that. I really don't. I think it's people trying. The trouble with Arsenal at the moment, there's a lot of things. Everybody's just trying to scaremonger things a little bit with Arsenal. It's always been the case, I'll put it at this point, Spurs have not signed no one, and no one's getting onto the Pochettino's case or Tottenham's case and slagging him. As soon as we sign someone, he's not in the France squad. He's not good enough for France, and blah blah blah. Then it's we don't get on with Giroud. So and so this, I
mean, there is these people right on Twitter, right? People say to me, "Oh, you're so," when we're talking about games, "Oh, you're so negative all the time. Oh my God, you never talk about the good things." Well, let's be fair. There hasn't been much good things to talk about, is there?
No, there hasn't.
And another thing is, if I'm talking about a match that I've just watched, I'm going to talk about the player who played well, but I'm also going to talk about the player who was not good enough. And I want to know why he wasn't good enough. And we'll praise the player that played well because he deserves praise. It might be 1 week the player who didn't play very well gets the slagging. The next week he's out of this world, and the sun shines out of his what.
Yeah,
it's just the way it goes. Do you know what I mean? Football. This is football. We're not pundits. We're not pundits that are not. We're fans. We're emotionally tied.
What fascinates me about everybody on there is like, I'm critical of Mesut Ozil, I'm critical of Arsene Wenger, I'm critical of whoever, Aaron Ramsey, whoever it will be. But when they're doing well, they still can't admit that they've done well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I can't understand that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, he's got, I hate Mesut Ozil, so if he does do well, I'm going to look for an excuse why he hasn't done well. And
that's
I can't understand.
Yeah.
I can't understand that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I'm going to say it now. I do like Aaron Ramsey. I believe that if Aaron Ramsey gets himself fit and plays like in a proper pre-season, like he did in this game yesterday, I thought he was outstanding yesterday in that first half. Looking like I think he scored 4 goals in his last 5 games now, or something like that. He's looking a little bit sharper and all that. Scores a great goal. Straight away, on comes the thing of, he's only playing against Australia. It's a friendly. It's this. It's that. Like Mesut Ozil, the Mesut Ozil fan club would turn around and say, didn't Mesut Ozil do great in that game there? Or Lacazette scored. It don't matter. He's off the mark. There's always agendas. I can't understand that. I'm an Arsenal fan who wants Arsenal to win, regardless. I don't give a monkey's how they win it as long as they win. But yeah, if a player plays well, like for last season, I slagged off Giroud at Tottenham because I thought he was a disgrace. But when he put on that goal for Aaron Ramsey in the cup final, it was sublime bit of play. I'm loving him again because he's just won us. It helps us win the cup. And
but that's how it goes.
Yeah, that's how it goes. That's
what I mean.
Football fans are. We're fickle.
Exactly.
We all hated Sol Campbell for 5 years, or how long he played for Spurs, and then all of a sudden we love him. You know what I mean? Like,
it's the way it goes. It's the way it goes. I mean,
it's the way it is.
If Harry Kane signed for Arsenal tomorrow, he's a go. He's a go. That's it. It's done.
We'd rub Spurs.
We love him. Yeah, we've always loved him, even when he played for Spurs. But it's the thing with Arsene Wenger, with me and Arsene Wenger.
It's a love-hate relationship.
People know that I would have preferred him to go at the end of the season, but he hasn't. So we have to get on with it and support the team and support the manager. What he's been doing this season so far is exciting me. So I have to give him a bit of credit for that. If he hadn't have made the Lacazette signing, or the Kolasinac, I think a player that we're forgetting to talk about here, actually, I've got to say, is Kolasinac. I don't know if I'm
looks
saying
fantastic.
it, but I hope I'm saying
Kolasinac.
Yeah, it does look good.
How'd you say it?
Kolasinac.
Well, I've been calling him Kolasinac.
Collie. Why don't you just call him Collie?
Why don't we just call him
Collie?
Beast? The beast.
The Serbian beast.
It's just going to give us a different dimension. You know what I mean? Like I think Arsenal do lack a little bit of power. But all of a sudden he's come into the side. Again, it's only friendlies, I know, but what he done last season, what everybody talks about. He does look a good player, and to get him for free, that's fantastic bit of business. So listen, at the moment, you've got to give Arsene Wenger credit where credit's due.
You agree with that, James? Team of the season, German defender, mate.
He is a man mountain. He is unbelievable, this player we've got. And to get him on a free, I mean, I know it's been said so many times, but if he wasn't on a free, then we're looking to pay 25, 30 million for this guy. He's just turned 24. I mean, he's unbelievably big for his age. And he's just powerful. And people forget as well, as big as he is, he's got that turn of pace. He's a pacey guy. He's got very agile feet. Yeah. He's a very, very tricky player. And he can play in so many different positions as well. He can play in that left centre-back role. He can play left wing-back. And he can play left-back. So we've got a very good option there in Kolasinac. And, I'm just buzzing to see how he's going to fit into this Arsenal team. But as well, Nacho Monreal, how good has he been this pre-season so far? I mean, he looks absolute quality. So I do feel bad for Kieran Gibbs, to be honest, because he's a bloke that I absolutely adore. But the two options we've got now, even though Monreal's coming up, so I think he'll be 31, 32 in the new year. I'd have to have two options like Monreal and Kolasinac is brilliant, and the fact that they can play in such versatile positions on that left-hand side, left centre back, left wing back, left back, it's a fantastic place to be in. And yeah, I'm really excited to see how he'll slot into the team.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to watch him chop Dele Alli. Like I said 2 weeks ago, chop Dele Alli and send him on one of those sideward somersaults. Can't fucking wait to see that. Just before we move on to the topic of the evening, I think you all know what's coming up. If you want to tweet us some questions, do. For all of you watching live, if you want to tweet a question to us, use the Twitter account at SameOldAFC. Tweet us a question, and when we're finished talking about Alexis Sanchez, I'll get through as many of them as I can. Lads, the big news, obviously, this week, well, that has come the last day, is that Alexis Sanchez gave an interview and said he's made his mind up, it's over to Arsenal. Now, a lot of people, I think, have misinterpreted what Alexis Sanchez has actually said here. My interpretation of that is he's made his mind up, and I think he's staying. Now it's over to Arsenal. That part being, bring in some more people, bring in some more players, get us back into the Champions League, and I'm going to stay. James, I hope my interpretation is how you interpreted it.
No, it's the complete opposite, to be honest. I think from what he said, and if you compare it to what Mesut Ozil said the other week, saying that his intention was to stay at the club, I mean, it comes across completely different. And his body language as well in the interview, I mean, I watched it. I don't speak Spanish, but the way it comes across a bit half-heartedly. I don't think he's got any real burning desire to stay at this club. And that's me being brutally honest. I could be totally wrong. I don't know what's going on in his head. I wouldn't want to assume it either. But the way he comes out and says, I want to play Champions League football, I want to win the Champions League. I don't know if I think what he's looking at now is he's made it clear to Arsenal that he perhaps wants to leave. But I mean, it's a really tough one to call, to be honest, Craig, because we're hearing so many different things. I mean, he comes out yesterday and says that he wants to play in the Champions League. It's always been his dream, and that would imply that he wants to move to a Champions League club this season. That's obviously how he's going to win it, by going to a Champions League team. But then again, Wenger comes out the other day and says that he's held positive talks with Alexis over the summer via text message. I mean, what are we to make of that? I mean, who do we believe in this instance? It's very conflicting, very contrasting reports, and it just feels very, very Van Persie-esque to me at the minute.
Yes, I was about to say that.
But I hope we learn our lesson, because I mean, we're not a club at the minute that needs. Well, what did we get for Van Persie? Sounds stupid, like 25 million.
25 million.
Yeah, we don't really. Even if it was 100 million for Alexis, we don't necessarily need that. What's more valuable to us in terms of a title challenge are his goals, are his 1 or 2 assists. I mean, he can offer so much to this club, and he's one of our best players. The front three we've got, I mean, everyone goes on about how excited he could be by this system at Manchester City, where he could play with De Bruyne, Jesus. You look at Arsenal now, we could potentially line up with Alexis, Ozil and Lacazette, and then have options such as Olivier Giroud. The project as Arsenal is exciting, and he should be able to buy into that. Yes, he's going to miss out on the Champions League for one season, but I don't think it's a case of he'll turn 30 next season and suddenly, his whole world falls apart. It might do for some players, but he's an incredibly fit guy. You look at Ronaldo, he's coming up to, I think he'll be 33 next season, and he's in the best form of his life, scoring goals left, right and centre. Unbelievable Champions League final performance. If Alexis can be as fit as Ronaldo, continue to play the football into his mid-30s, then he's got no problem on that front whatsoever, and he strikes me as that guy. So I sincerely hope that he continues with Arsenal. I don't think he'll sign a contract this summer. I think that I hope that Arsene Wenger is true to his word and keeps him on, because we don't need the money for him at this moment in time. And I hope that we do well with the club, and by January he sees that we're doing well. We're competing on all fronts. Again, that's a big ask given how we tend to do around January, March time. But yeah, I hope he'll sign a contract at some point next season. But as I said earlier, the longer it drags out, the more frustrating it will be for not just us as fans, but squad and Arsene Wenger as well.
Absolutely, mate. Lee, just going on what James said there, I have to agree with him about it scaring me, because Wenger told us that Van Persie wasn't leaving. Wenger told us that Fabregas wasn't leaving. And he left. The list goes on. And some people are going to come out and say, well, yeah, of course, Arsene Wenger's not going to come out and say, yeah, he's going.
Why not?
Well, because he just doesn't do things like that, does he?
Well, there's a
the other point is what I want to say is this: if Alexis does stay for another year, and it's kind of against his will, which it looks like it might be, if James's interpretation is correct, that's not good either. I would rather sell him. If he wants to leave, I would rather sell him now. I know James says that we don't need the money. We probably don't. But it will be a nice little chunk of money to have in the back pocket come January. I would rather sell him now if I'm talking about James's interpretation. Lee, what's going on, mate? Will Alexis Sanchez,
A couple of things with Alexis Sanchez that you've got to be there. I personally, this is what I personally think's happened. He's probably turned around and said to Arsenal, look, I'm willing to stay, but I'm not going to sign a contract yet. And because I'm going to see where it's going to go. I want Champions League football. So it's up to Arsenal if they decide to go along those lines. Two things that I think, if I'm going to say like that, I think that he might stay. One was when he's in an interview in when he was playing for Chile, when he said about he's staying for Arsenal, he's laughing and joking about it, laughing, I know what I'm going to do and all that. Now, if he was going to leave and he's laughing and joking at that, I think that's totally disrespectful to Arsenal and Arsenal's fans. I don't think he's that sort of guy, if I'll be honest. That's one thing. He arrives in Chile where he's got all the press are all going to be around him because he's back in Chile, and he's wearing an Arsenal hat. Is he just doing this to wind up Arsenal fans, or is he just saying that, I do want to stay, but give me the deal that I want to and the insurances that I want? I think if I was Alexis Sanchez, I'm in the most powerful position of a contract that I can ever be, 1 year left. I would turn around to Arsenal if it was me and say, look, I'll sign a contract. You want me to sign it, but if we don't challenge for the league and we're like we did this season, then you give me assurances that I can leave at the following season, so that I don't leave for nothing or something like that. That is what I would say, and show me the ambition that's going to make me believe that we can win the Champions League. Because at the moment, Lacazette, I'm afraid, is not going to win us the Champions League. I went to the Champions League final in May. Juventus got beaten by Real Madrid. I can't even remember now, 3 or 4-1, I think it was. Juventus are a far better team than us. Far better team than us. They would have annihilated us that day. So we've got a lot of work to do. We've started off okay. I think last season it looked pretty good, but seriously, are we gonna win the league this season with this current squad at the moment? No. We've got to add a couple more players. Now, if Arsenal go out and do that, then I'm afraid that Arsenal can't do no more. Can't do no more than say to Alexis Sanchez, look, we've gone and got Lacazette, we've gone and got Lamar, we've gone and got so and so. We're showing the ambition, Alexis, that we can be a really good side. James has put up a great point there. That is an exciting project. If you get Lamar in, you get Lacazette, you've got, there's a real good possibility that we could do really well next season. So I think that there are some positives in there. Listen, you can go on about the Van Persie thing. You can go on about the Fabregas thing. You cannot keep kidding supporters by keep saying, like, yeah, he's not going to go. It's not just them two. You've got to go on to the likes of Nasri as well. That happened. No, he's not going to go. But we was in a position then when we was financially not in a very good position, and we've accepted those deals. But now we're in a different position where we don't have to do that. And I want to start trusting Arsene Wenger again. I want to start trusting him as a manager, and I want to start trusting him as a link between the club and us fans. What he says is realistically what us fans should believe in. Everything Arsene Wenger says, we should take on board that. And I want to do that again. At this moment in time, everything Arsene Wenger says, I don't really believe it now, Craig. You know what I mean? But 10 years ago, if Arsene Wenger said he was God, I would have believed him. You know what I mean? Like, because that's how much respect I had for him. But over the years, that's diminished because of what he's done. But he has turned around and he said in that press conference yesterday that he's got positive feelings that Sanchez is going to stay. He's said that the Ox is 100% going to stay. We all know that Mesut Ozil's virtually signed his contract. But at this moment in time, with the thing with Ozil's come out and said, yeah, he wants to stay at Arsenal. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to sign the contract, you know, but he has come out with a positive sort of statement. Now, Sanchez has not come out with really anything. He's you know, you could look at it. I think what he said there, really, you two sum it up really well because you both interpret it different ways. You know, no one really knows what he's wanting to do. But I am in this position. It doesn't matter how good a player you are. If he doesn't want to be at the club, then let's get rid. I'm in that position because if you look back there's going to be a stage when Alexis Sanchez is not going to be at Arsenal anyway. In 4 years' time, he's not going to be here. You know what I mean? So if it's a year earlier or whatever, you have to accept it. This has been going on at Arsenal Football Club since I can remember as a kid growing up when I was so upset when Liam Brady left to go to Juventus, and it's continued to happen through the years. You know, all the way through. You know, look at the scenario we had with Patrick Vieira. All the times, every season, is he going to go? Is he going to stay? Is he going to go? You know what I mean? I love Patrick Vieira, but he started to weigh me down. And then the time when you thought he weren't going to bloody leave, he bloody left.
Yeah, he left. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there is every player's got a timeline. And that's the way it is. Now, if it's not this season, it'd be next season. So if he doesn't want to sign and he doesn't want to play for Arsenal, I've never really had a bad for Robin van Persie. As a footballer, for ambition and all that, like, you know, I never blamed him for going to Man United because, you know, he wanted to win the league. He proved it that he wanted to do that. You know, he went up to Arsenal and said, "What are you going to sign?" And he said, "Well, I'm going to sign so and so and so." He said, "I'm off then." You know, I don't think that we're doing that with Sanchez. I think that we're, you know, by signing Lacazette, you know, we are showing a little bit of ambition. But we signed Lacazette for 55 million. Man United come in and signed Lukaku for 70 million. Chelsea go and spend a lot of money. Manchester City have all spent more money than us. You know, we've got to, I'm not saying that's what it's all about, but these teams show their ambition year in, year out. And we've got to, if we're going to compete, we've got to do that. And I just think that with Sanchez, you know, he's a fantastic footballer. He is, you know what I mean? And listen, if we do lose him, we are going to be weak. But then it's up to Arsenal to go, right, okay, you're going to go, Sanchez, right, we're going to now get 60 million for you and we're going to go all out for getting Mbappe, or we're going to go all out to get somebody else that wants to come play for this football club. The one thing that I will say about Lacazette, he's come to Arsenal without Champions League football. That means that he wants to come to Arsenal because he wants to come to Arsenal. And if Lamar comes the same, I'll embrace these sort of signings because they've come of not of all this Champions League, I want Champions League stuff. They've come because they want to play for Arsenal. Now, if Sanchez come to Arsenal because he wanted to play Champions League and win the Champions League, why did he come to Arsenal in the first place? Because he was never going to win it with us.
And he was already at Barcelona.
Yeah, he was already at Barcelona.
Great point.
Exactly. So you know, he's not going to go back to Barcelona. He's not going to go to Real Madrid. What Manchester City, you know, turns around to me and says that's a sign of a lot, you know, getting money. It's a lot of money thing. You know, they'll probably have a very, very good chance of winning the league next season. Champions League, I don't think so. So, you know, it's a tough. You know, this is a poignant, and I'd really stress this now. This summer now is poignant to Arsenal. What happens with Alexis Sanchez and how we go about it. And it could be the making of us, or it could be the breaking of us, and that's as it is now. And but I will stress this: one player is not bigger than Arsenal Football Club, and he is not bigger than Arsenal.
That'd be right.
Club. And that's the end of it. Like, you know, when people turn around and say, he's mad if you must be mad if you want him to leave. No one wants him to leave, but I want Alexis Sanchez to stay at Arsenal because he wants to stay at Arsenal.
Absolutely. I don't want him to leave either. Really, I don't. But if he wants to go, Get rid. Get him out. Get the money. Thanks, Alexis. Bye-bye. And just want to pick up on one thing you said there, Lee. Signing Lukaku for 75 million is not ambitious. It's fucking lunacy.
It is, but it's what Manchester United need. You know, you look at Mourinho when he was successful at Chelsea. Who did he have up front? He had Drogba up front. Pace, power, a little bit cumbersome at times, but that's the way they play.
Comparing Lukaku to Drogba.
No, I'm not saying it is. Listen, you can get. You could get 100 tweets now. I could go back and some tweets and everybody's saying we should get Lukaku. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that it's. If you want my honest opinion out of Lacazette and Lukaku, I'd have Lacazette. I really do believe that. You know what I mean? I just think, but
who would you rather have, Lukaku or Giroud?
What, as well as Lacazette?
Yeah. If you could have, if you could have one or the other to play up front with Lacazette, who would it be, Giroud or Lukaku?
I'd probably be inclined to say Lukaku. I mean, I think
wouldn't have 5 years ago.
Oh no, 5 years ago, yeah. No,
I think Giroud, you know, is 30. Well, I don't know. That's a tough one, Craig. That is, you know.
Yeah, the only reason I'd be going with Lukaku is because he's only like 23, isn't he? Yeah. 23, 24.
Yeah, he's still very raw, isn't he? I think.
I don't rate him. I never have done. Hate me, I don't care. At me, I don't care. I've never rated the geezer. I think the tweet I saw about him was absolutely fabulous about the United fans needing protective glasses to protect themselves from his second touch. But look, he might make me.
Premiership proven though, Craig.
He is, but he might make me eat humble pie. He might do.
I hope not.
But at the moment, no way. I'd have Giroud over him. Again, hate me, at me, hashtag me. I don't care. That's what I'd have. We've got no questions, and I'll tell you why we've got no questions. Because of King Love Island. I've just gone through my timeline, and everyone's tweeting about Love Island. Even Amanda. Oh, I'll watch it. My JC's on it tonight. I'm going to watch it. And she's tweeting about Love Island. Thanks very much, Amanda.
They can all catch up later, see? That's the thing, like, you know.
Yeah, I suppose so. Watch us.
I'll tell you what we can.
Oh, no, we got a question. Just before we go, Ryan Fletcher, what are you guys' honest opinions? We didn't talk about the kits.
Yeah, it's just about to say that.
Yeah, the new kits and the shite kits. What are you guys' honest opinions on all three new kits for the forthcoming season? The red one, well, this is one. The red one, it's all right. The third kit is beautiful. The black and pink one is beautiful. I love it. That's the one I'm going for this year.
Pink.
The white is black.
Pink.
Got a pink trim. Or as I like to call it,
I bet you like the Pink Panther when that was in it, didn't
salmon.
You? Salmon now, we're going for salmon.
Yes, pink, black and salmon.
Right, I'll talk about the second kit then.
The away kit is a disgrace. It's horrible. It looks like something you find in an Egyptian, no disrespect to Egyptian markets, it's something like you'd find in an Egyptian market.
I think the irony of that is it first got leaked from an Egyptian market.
Yeah. Oh, did it? Well, there's the irony. There you go. The badge looks like...
it's awful. Let's just say it's awful.
It's horrible.
People say about blue kits and all that. Oh, we've had nice blue kits and all that. I don't mind a blue kit with a yellow trim.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, Arsenal Football Club is red and white, yellow and blue. That's how it was. Why keep going and changing it? I don't mind the third kit. Do it with the third kit. You know, in my day, there wasn't such a thing as a third kit. You know what I mean? That's, third kit, money making. That's all that is. Like, you know what I mean? We'll make some more money out.
It is a bloody nice kit, though, I've got to say. I do like that black one. It's a bit sexy. I do like it. Yeah, I might even buy the whole kit.
Oh, what are you going to wear suspenders?
I'm wearing it to bed. Yeah, I'm wearing it to bed.
Yeah, pink suspenders.
You know,
look, listen.
Why don't my missus go for a bit of that?
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
Buy that for her.
That's enough of that.
Yeah.
But I don't look, listen, the third kit, you can do whatever you like with the third kit. I thought, like, you know, the last couple of Arsenal kits have been really good, I think, like away kits. You know, last season's kit I really liked. The one before that, when we won the FA Cup against Aston Villa, loved that kit. You know, but this blue thing, well, you know, it's a monster. It's a Spurs fan that's designed that, sure.
Do you remember that that night kit back in, I think it was about 02, 03 maybe? It was a blue night kit just like that with a similar little, with the circles on it as well.
Yes.
I remember there's a really famous picture of Patrick Vieira in it. That was a really nice kit. But
it was nice.
This
my favourite ever Arsenal kit. My favourite ever Arsenal kit.
Yeah, at the trim.
Yeah, scored at Liverpool in that. Which was a 1-2 goal. Fantastic kit. Don't mind the blue kit, but it's got
don't mind the blue kit, but didn't have a yellow 02.
Yeah, I think it had a white 02 and yellow trimming.
It did. Right. There was a little thing on the sleeve, like a little.
Yeah, a little bit of yellow. It was lovely kit.
But my favourite Arsenal kit ever was the bruised banana one. Oh. I've still got that. I've still got it at home.
It's a bloody awful
my brother's still got his one as well.
1998 one was good.
Oh, what a kit.
Yeah, that was a kit. Do you remember that? That was a good. I'll tell you the best kit. Right, go back to about 84. I think it was in the year Charlie Nicholas had it. I think it could have been an Adidas one, yellow and blue kit. You had the tight shorts on. God, you know.
You like a bit of tight shorts, Lee, do you?
Well, I did back in the 80s, you know, but that was a great kit, like, you know, but all this now, come on.
No, that bruised banana's the one for me. James, your favourite ever Arsenal kit to date?
My favourite ever Arsenal kit? You know, it'd have to be the claret and...
Oh, the Highbury one? Yeah.
That one up there, but the European one we had, one of our first Nike kits with the third shirt. It was hoops, claret, and navy hoops.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
What one? Yes, that was half decent. Yeah,
I had that long sleeve. I had that long sleeve, and I had it on at the Emirates the day Bentner scored that header against Spurs when he come on off the bench. I had it on that day.
Yeah, I'll tell you another nice kit. The one we won in the Champions League final.
Yeah, beautiful kit.
Beautiful kit. Yellow and blue. Beautiful kit.
Yeah, I think that was my second Arsenal top, that one.
Do you know what someone said to me the other day? Now, I'm not going to quote him. I'm not going to mention his name. We were having a conversation about it. But name a time when Arsenal have won a trophy without yellow and blue as their away kit. And
Community Shield in red.
I can't think. You know, you go back.
That's not a trophy, James. That's a friendly.
I mean,
let's get that out of the way. We're not Man United fans.
So we had yellow and blue last year and we won the FA Cup. Yellow and blue when we beat Aston Villa. I don't know about Hull. What colour that?
Oh, 2005 when we beat Man United on penalties.
That was red and white, though, wasn't it? We had red and white on that.
Wasn't
their away kit was yellow, like, you know what I mean? So I don't know if he didn't play in it.
Oh, I see. Oh, bloody hell. We'll be here all night.
Like, he was saying that he thinks that we've won more trophies when we've had a yellow and blue away kit that season than any other time. Like, obviously, 98, we had a yellow and blue kit, yeah?
Yeah.
We had the 2002, we had that, do you remember that sort of goldy colour one?
Yes.
We won that. The Invincible season was the other yellow and blue with a blue 02 on it.
Correct.
All right, you know, so...
Yes, the one at Old Trafford was the saga one, wasn't it? The gold and dark blue.
Yeah. Like, yeah, that's right. That's it, yeah. So you got, like, you know, I'm thinking to myself, do you know what? You could be right here. I think, didn't we win the in the U8 when we won the Cup Winners' Cup? We had a yellow and blue kit. So anyway, he's saying that, and I you know, I'm going to have to do my research on it. But if anybody can come up with a season that we won a trophy with, certainly, you know, let's hope we.
Sorry to interrupt you, Lee, but Love Island must have finished or something because being inundated now, of course.
Oh, right.
I can't read all these all out, lads. We'll be here all bloody night. Sorry about that. 1 second now. Claude says, Giroud better than Lukaku. I've heard it all now.
Oh, he's just come on because he has been watching Love Island.
That's it. Yeah,
He is.
I didn't say Giroud was better. I said I'd rather. Didn't say he was better.
He loves all those blokes in the shorts, does Claude. I tell you that.
Yeah. It's just my personal opinion. That's all. This comes in from AG Rose. I went to LA Galaxy Manchester United game last night, and Lukaku was awful. Took him out of my dream team when I got home.
Done you friendly.
Yeah, true. Very true. Gooner 49, Craig, you are a champ. Thank you, mate.
Again, that's your mum,
mate. Thank you, mate.
How the hell?
Next one. Is this summer? How many more signings do you think Arsenal should make? And who? Ambition for me would be Lamar stroke Mahrez, Van Dijk, and a central midfielder enforcer. Yeah, ambition. I mean, Van Dijk. I don't know about Van Dijk.
Yeah, I'd sign Van Dijk tomorrow.
Would you? James?
Yeah, Van Dijk and Lamar, happy. That's a very, very good transfer window. Very, very good.
Yeah, no, I think it depends how much Van Dijk's going for, to be honest. I think if we're looking to bring in Lamar as well and Van Dijk, then we're spending upwards of well over 150 million, which for Arsenal, I'm not too sure is a realistic possibility. But it'd be a quality signing, let's not forget that. I mean, he's one of the top centre-halves in the Premier League. And with Mertesacker, retiring at the end of next season, what does the future hold for someone like Callum Chambers, Gabriel as well, who's somewhat of a fringe player? I mean, a centre back would not be a bad shout. So I think whilst we've got good options there, and I don't think we will sign a centre half because I do think Wenger's happy with the options we've got. It certainly wouldn't go amiss. I mean, the area I'd be looking at is potentially that right centre back, right wing back sort of role.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Ramsey and Xhaka are looking pretty sexy.
Yeah, that's looking
together. Good. Yeah, they're looking good.
And then in behind them, we've got Wilshere, O'Neill, Coquelin.
Yeah, it is looking nice for next year, and that's why I'm so excited. I am. This is the first time I've been excited about the kickoff of the season for a long, long time. A long, long time. I've been dreading the last 2 or 3 years, but hopefully, Arsene Wenger.
That's what signing does.
Yeah, exactly. It's what a signing does. It makes us excited. Hopefully, he can follow it up with Lamar. I'd love to see Lamar at Arsenal.
Where would he play, though? Where would you say Lamar would play?
Who knows with Arsene Wenger, Lee?
Because I know he can play a couple of positions.
If he keeps him in the position of right wing, does that mean that he's going to go back to the 4 at the back? Who knows?
I think he'd probably play in the 2 behind the striker. And again, that brings into question the future of Alexis, because then, we've already got those 2 places occupied by Alexis and Ozil at the minute. So I think, again, Craig, like you say, could go back to a back 4-4-2-3-1, Lamar, Ozil, Alexis behind Lacazette. I mean, there's something quite tasty about that. Yeah. But then again, we'd just be ruining all the good work we did last season by doing that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Lads, it's been a pleasure talking to you this evening. It's been a lovely, lovely chat. James, great to talk to you again. Now, just before we go, James, you have started Canon Chat, I believe it's called.
Canon Chat. Yeah, that's the one, mate. Yeah, it's just a little project. Me and I don't know if you've heard of Was the Gooner. We've got
Was the Gooner on here, mate.
We've got Was on there, and a guy called Rob as well, who is hideously underfollowed on social media. He's all new to it, so I mean, meeting up with the lads tomorrow at the Emirates, doing a bit of filming for that. It's just a little project we got going, just a bit of fun, and hopefully you guys can enjoy it too.
Yeah, absolutely. Lads, if you are watching this, go and follow the lads at Canon Chat and go and subscribe to their channel as well. Their link will be on their Twitter feed. Go and support James, Woz and Richard. Go over
Rob,
there.
mate. Rob.
Rob, Richard, Rob.
We'll get Richard in next week.
Go and support him anyway. Go and follow him on Twitter at Gooner Chat. Fucking
All right, Craig, I think it's past your bedtime, mate.
Yeah. Go and follow them at Gooner Chat.
Canon Chat.
I got it wrong again. Canon Chat.
Think of a gum.
Canon Chat. And go and
put it to your head.
I'm telling you, I've got sunstroke.
Yeah.
Thanks for everyone watching live. Very humbling to have 100 of you watching us live throughout tonight.
Be glad when Love Island's finished.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we could have had a couple of hundred, I suppose, if they weren't all watching Love Island.
We'd have had Claude.
Yeah, we'd have had Claude, but he's just finished watching Love Island. He's a big fan of that. He's a big fan of that out here.
I think he does it to wind me up.
Oh, does he? Well, I don't know. I'd like to see him on that, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for watching live, everyone. Thanks for watching us. If you've come to watch us on YouTube, thanks for listening. If you're listening to us on iTunes or SoundCloud, your support has been amazing. Next season, we are going all in. We started it at the end of last season, kind of thing, going through the pre-season. But obviously, when the season kicks off, we'll be going every week. We're going to have a week off, so we will be back with you 2 weeks on Wednesday. And we'll be back. We'll be back to talk about the games in China against Chelsea and Bayern Munich. Is it?
Yeah,
I think. And then, am I right in saying that leaves us a week? That leaves us a week to go before the Charity Shield.
No, we got our Emirates Cup before.
Got the Emirates Cup.
Oh, the Emirates Cup, and then the Charity Shield.
Yeah.
3 weeks till the kick-off of the season, is it?
26 days.
Oh!
Yeah.
26 days. Say it like that, James. Oh, dearie me.
I'm ticking off the days, mate. I'm buzzing.
Days. Thanks for watching live, everyone. See you when we all return in 2 weeks' time. Up the Arsenal.